things I want to go over, so we can write about it in No Cover. How did how were you approached in regards to Prophets of Rage?
Tom called me.
And what made that appealing to you?
Well, a bunch of different factors. Well, we were doing a Prodigy tour, played 30 arenas, Public Enemy, on our 105th tour in 28 years, last year. Tom reached out to me, and I was like, wow, okay. But we'll talk about that further on. I was already juggling something else, and my father passed in February, day after Super Bowl. So I was like, well, I got to take on something else to kind of get me off of that. I got to take on another goal, just to take me to another. I can't get far enough off the planet, so let me go around the planet on some other different level. But still, it wasn't a no-brainer. It wasn't a no-brainer to Be Real was considered. And then I was like, that's when the light bulb went off in my head. Because, I mean, nobody's going to come into it. It's not going to be Rage Against the Machine 2. And nobody's going to be able to repeat Zach De La Rocha at 22 sounding like there's a knife or a razor turning in him, you know. But when Be Real came along, you know, another one of my co-brothers who I've worked with for years, you know, as a peer, and we came into figuring out, like, okay, let's go about doing these songs in a year where so many people have been using Raging Against the Machine or Fighting the Power in an election year. Tom just thought it was interesting to say, look, we haven't performed as this in 2011 because we're not a total group. But I got Tim, I got Brad along, and let's see what it is. I brought DJ Lord along, who's probably the best turntablist I've ever seen from the PE's DJ. And then I said, okay, maybe this could be different. It's not Rage Against the Machine. It's not Public Enemy. It's not Cypress Hill. It's Prophets of Rage, which comes off of a song that Public Enemy had on It Takes a Nation and Millions to Hold Us Back that was inspired by a Lifetime article about those that dare to say things to, you know, protect and predict the future with fire. And so we got together and we said, look, this is what it is. And when we got together on paper, it was a mother. We was like, yo, for real? So that was Mount Everest 2. Mount Everest 1 is like, okay, coming in and figuring out how do you come at Zach's lyrics when you do Rage songs, and we understood how to rageify certain songs. And then also Rage and Cypress had worked together, and Tom and I had worked together, so it was one of those things like, okay, let's see if this naturally could happen, and also see if we can fight against it happening, and see if it organically finds itself. And sure enough, with rehearsals and practices and all that, we made some plans in March, and rehearsals found its own alchemy and chemistry, and we found ways to do songs. We found style, and I said, you know, the most important thing is everybody define their role, or at least me define my role. And I said, when Be Real came along, I said, you know what, I could play number 2 mic, which solidifies us real strong. If I play the weakest link, Be Real's up front, I play the back, fill in sometimes, come up front, he plays back. I said, you know, that's an unbeatable alchemy, unbeatable formula, because a lot of people get on the mic, but they don't understand the science of the mic. The science of the mic means that you don't hold the mic all the time, and the science of the mic means you don't spit all the time. Yeah, you got to do all those things you do by your damn self. It's just you on the stage, yeah. But when you actually doing it with somebody, there's a mic 1 and there's a mic 2 or a mic 1.5, which is kind of the role I feel comfortable with. And even when we're on stage, myself, Brad Wilk, the drummer, and Timmy Comerford, the bass player, we call ourselves the defense. We cover the back. The up front people, Tom Morello on guitar, Be Real on mic, and DJ Lord on turntable. That's the offense. So that's we play games on stage, but we just completed a massive tour to more than 500,000 people. Every place was packed. Played the Forum here and turned it out, and even if it's somebody in the first 10 minutes up there saying, okay, I want to compare it against Rage Against the Machine, we win them after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But because it's not about us, it's about the song, and it's also about the meaning and the passion and the sentiment. So, I mean, really, it's like, okay, it's just not Rage Against the Machine. It's not Public Enemy. It's not Cypress Hill. It's not Sen Dog, Flavor Flav, and Zach De La Rocha. But it is formidable. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people use the word supergroup, but I don't agree necessarily on certain situations that say they're a supergroup. This is. I'm the weakest link on the damn stage, and I look around. I say I got the best seat in the house because everybody else is kicking ass. Seriously, kicking ass.
I don't really figure it as a supergroup either. I thought of it more as when I look at you guys, it seems how I feel is we're looking for somebody. The world is in or America's in this weird place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where the media is shoving racism down our throat and turning us against each other as human beings. And it's weird that we don't see each other as humans anymore. We see each other as colors. Yeah. And to me, that's just absurd. And when I saw you guys coming out, I said, that's our fucking savior.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it's going to be so much. I don't think it's so much of a savior as much as it is what they call it, a tower. That I think more artists today are saying more things that are relevant about the forwardness of human beings and consciousness than ever before. They're just not giving back for it or giving any credit for it. I mean, all I know is I play so much rap music on our 16 stations, man, and every week somebody's saying something that shakes your head.
I know.
T.I. just came out with a song called War Zone, which is phenomenal. Joe Budden just came out with his new album. He's got everybody spitting some, real. Mm-hmm. We ain't gonna play the dumb role all the time. Now, everybody could, spit and make songs of what they want and what they feel. That's the artist's freedom. But I think we're back to how it used to be in the 80s. That's R&B. That's Reagan and Bush times, where at least somebody's going to drop one for the hood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm going to drop this one for the people. Now, I could be talking about whatever in my other 6 or 7 joints, but one song I'm going to have for the babies. Mm-hmm. And I think that's being ignored by the media. It's easy for them to ignore artists that they feel that, who are they to say that? And so what I don't like and what I try to repair is I say, well, a song and an artist is still a song and an artist. They're doing the best they can, and they sound damn good at it, and they performing their ass off. But you're not going to give them a chance? You're not going to even illuminate them a shot? You're going to play so-and-so 12 trillion times over this artist can't get played 100 times, even in their own local town. They can't get played 10 times.
I know.
That's a crime, man. I mean, look, Kanye West is turning into a religion. Now, that's for good or bad, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, okay. But the superstars should be giving artists a shot, whether it's opening up, whether it's a boost, a co-signing, but give them an opportunity to damn near keep their lights on. Mm-hmm. As you're going around and buying your 16th Rolls Royce for your dog. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what's that about? Yeah. There's an artist out there, man, yo, man, we're just trying. It was 4 of us, and we've been traveling in the van. All we want to do is make a living in our tri-state area, and we good, and we'll figure out where to go from there. But if they ain't got a shot, I mean, an artist that comes, let's say they come from Ventura. They should be able to make a living playing Ventura, Bakersfield, Santa Barbara, going up to the mid-coast or even the full coast.
Goleta.
Goleta, also going into Arizona, Nevada. There's enough of 100 places there that they can string together and keep playing that circuit round and round. And it's not just going to have to be one, but it has to be a cycle that goes around that people support. And it could be done, but you need a couple of hubs, new hubs, that also come along and become new places that artists could thrive. All you got to do is study the history of Austin, Texas, and how they got started. I mean, look, Austin was the state capital, right? It wasn't Houston. It wasn't Dallas. Damn sure it wasn't San Antonio, right? But close. And they made a hub out of Austin that was like, now it's the music capital of the country. It didn't have, Nashville. Nashville was alive, then it died, and now Nashville is probably the fastest growing city musically in the whole country. Nashville is, man, you go to Nashville, right? You could tell a city is growing, right, by the amount of cranes you see. You would see the skyline at least got 20 cranes on it, building big high. Same thing in Austin. You go to Austin, you see like 10 cranes building new high-rise spots. So these cities are music cities, and that's where it's happening. I think Ventura could be a music town on its way to a city. What's to stop it? Nothing. Mm-hmm. If you don't, look, here's another thing, man. If you don't do it, don't expect somebody else to come along and just do it. It probably never will happen. So sometimes it's got to have the alpha to some kind of omega. It only happens because human beings are able to say, we can do it. Now, it's difficult for one person to have one idea and get it started. So a collective group of managers, administrators, artists, people, really who are about their roles will make a scene grow. If you here's another thing. We have a Barnes and Noble in town that people could visit and go just to the music section and learn. You could go online on your phone and learn about how did Sam Phillips make Memphis, Tennessee happen to be the first hotbed of rock and roll. He had a recording service, and Memphis is very dear to me. He had a recording service. He says, you know what? I come from a radio background. I'm going to make acetates. And then he started recording people who actually was recording in the fields. Black artists first, blues artists from West Memphis, Arkansas, and also in the Memphis area. Knew how to play music, just never was recorded. He was the first one that says, look, I can record y'all. Then he said, you know what, man, I'm recording you, and I'm taking the masters and selling them to Chess. I start my own label, which is Sun Records. A young white kid named Elvis walks in. Says, well, I'm influenced by what I've been hearing on this radio station. Has all of a sudden been playing this black music. Elvis starts cutting inside Sam Phillips' studio. He cuts 2 records that happen to be sensational that the radio station starts to spread around. The beginning of rock and roll, because Sam Phillips said, I want to make a difference. I'm going to do this something with all this talent here. I'm going to organize it. I know I ain't going to get in and try to outplay somebody. There's a lot of that. How could I corral it? That's how scenes start. And scenes, they open and they close. They don't stay open for 50 years. They have 10-year periods. So this could probably be that 10-year period you're talking about after your 1,000 days of preparation and setup. The key is how long and how much wherewithal you have to keep it going through the trials and tribulations of everyday life. How much have you got in you to make it happen? What's your conversation to somebody who considers themselves a frustrated artist? Why are they frustrated? What do they recognize that they have, and what do they recognize that they don't have? What are they crying about, and what are they smiling about? Those are, that's what made a Sam Phillips in Memphis. That's what made a Berry Gordy in Detroit. That talent was hanging around Detroit for the longest. Hanging around.
That's my motivation right there.
Yeah. You got Berry Gordy. You got Russell Simmons in Queens. Right? All that talent was in Queens. Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin's coming from Long Island. They're like, okay, we got something here already. How do we nurture that? When we study the recording scenes and musician scenes just in this country, you find out that you can do the same thing. But it's hard to have motivation and inspiration if you don't have the information, especially history. So a lot of times people think that they're creating something for the first time. I'm like, no, this has been done before. Matter of fact, it's been done before right where you at, maybe in a different time with different apparatus. But right now, you got all the tools. We're doing a radio show out of a place that you set up. Maybe 20 years ago, you had somebody tell you that was an impossibility. You are now broadcasting across to the entire world when you want to and if you want to. Okay. That's more tools than anybody had before. Now you could cut them too. You could cut and record them. Or, there's a whole bunch of people out there, they have their own record labels, okay? But what is the hub that record labels can all congregate and be a community where they're all recognized instead of floating out there in cyberspace? That's also a goal. Cyberspace is a big piece of every place. And there's a trillion people out there recording. But where's the focus to find them? And where's the enthusiasm to keep them close to you? It's only could be done with a collective.
You're talking to my soul, man.